So that brings us back to the question of the stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home mom, right? Because it took my parents 4 tries to maybe have this somewhat successful, maybe. For you got the rough end of the stick because you were the first one. They made all the mistakes with you, mellowed out by the time your brother. I mean, what's that formula then? I mean, because those are the roles that your parents had. Those are the roles that my parents had. Same for you. If you mess up that formula... Hey guys, it's the Twisted View. Leland Conway along with Christian Toto, Benjamin Allbright. If you like what you're about to see, we'd love you to come back. Click the little bell icon, get notifications, find Twisted View podcasts on your favorite listening app. If you have suggestions or you don't like what we had to say, we don't really care, okay? So just go to IHateLeland at twistedview.com. Let's get into it, boys. What's going on, guys?
What's going on? Oh my, let's go.
So there's a controversial story that has Colorado at its heart.
Nice.
And we're probably going to get into trouble for even broaching this subject.
Let's get in.
Okay.
I'm in.
But a stay-at-home dad in Colorado Springs has put out a TikTok video in which he is calling out the ladies, the stay-at-home moms, saying this job ain't as hard as you guys have been making us think it is all these years. You guys want to see the video?
Is this like the Bill Burr bit?
Yeah.
What they do with the...
Which we need to watch. First, we should watch the video.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay.
All right, here's the guy in Colorado Springs, and here he is saying what he says about his stay-at-home dadness.
To all the stay-at-home moms, I feel like you're lying. Because of what I get to do for work, I can still stay home and pay all the bills. And my wife will have to go to work to make her money. And I have a 1-year-old daughter. So I'll stay at home and I'll take care of my daughter. And while I'm taking care of my 1-year-old daughter, I can give her 3 meals a day, change her on time, get her into her naps, play time, arts and crafts time, and still make sure the entire place is clean. And I can clean the whole apartment while watching her before 12 or 1 o'clock. And yes, I know an apartment is different than a home, but I have a 2,300 square foot apartment, so it's not tiny. But I do know that I can just be ignorant to a lot of people's situations. So can someone please tell me, when does being a stay-at-home mom become hard?
Oh!
Ouch. Oh, damn.
What was that? What was that bit? Was it this one? The Bill Burr bit? Wait, hold on. Here we go. This is...
Being a mom is the most difficult job on the planet. How many mothers died on ice road truckers last season? Any moms get washed overboard on Deadliest Catch? I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but what would you rather have as a job? You want to scoop scallops off the bottom of the ocean, catching that lobster trap to the back of your head? Or do you want to hang in the sunshine with a couple of rugrats? You'd send them to bed anytime you want and some trumped up charges because you want to have a drink and watch The Price is Right? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is the most difficult job. I mean, I thought roofing in the middle of July as a redhead, I thought that was a difficult job. I really did. I thought it was difficult. But evidently, these mothers, they're bending over at the waist, putting DVDs into DVD players, going to war pinned down by a sniper. What a joke! You ever burp a baby and forget to put that towel up there? There's another shirt you gotta wash. Oh, lift with your knees and put it in that machine that does it for you. Dude, any job you can do in your pajamas is not difficult. It isn't. I'm sure it's...
Oh my. Woo!
Oh, okay. I think the show's over already.
You can go first if you want.
Oh, look.
Wait, hold on. Quick poll. Has anybody here ever been a stay-at-home dad?
I mean, I've been a stay-at-home me.
Okay.
I mean, I retired for 4 years, and I cleaned my own house. Honestly, like when my ex-wife got half the planet in the divorce, I kind of wondered what she did there. I mean, like I was paying somebody to clean. It wasn't difficult. Like,
what would you say?
What would you say you do? I know every time that I was under fire in Fallujah, The only thing I could sit there thinking was, thank God I'm not a stay-at-home mom right now.
Oh, what is it?
This is just like
I
The View,
hate
I swear.
Benjamin. And,
Well, my name is Leland Conway, by the way.
oh, okay.
No, I mean, I'm sure that there are, especially with multiple children, because I've never been a stay-at-home dad,
Right.
But I'm sure that there is difficulty to children having multiple children. I'm sure
Sure.
defer to the experience on that. But staying at home and keeping a house clean is not difficult at all. And I say that as someone who is almost an obsessive neat freak when it comes to that. Thanks, Army, for that kind of stuff. So I kind of empathize with him on that. I'm like, if you got a job that's working from home, like, you kind of got to justify the hours we're putting in here. I'm not saying we need to fill out a timesheet, but there are times where I see some complaining about what's going on at the house, and I'm like, I feel like you just procrastinated, then had to do it last minute and are upset at that.
Right. Okay. All right.
All right.
Christian?
I hate to be the voice of reason here, but
no.
the reason why
No,
those
we don't want reason.
the reason why those gags work and the reason why that TikTok is going crazy is because there's a kernel of truth to it. Now, having said that, I got two kids. There are times if one kid is melting down in a very specific way, it's worse than anything. I'm just saying it could be awful. But what they're saying is there's a cultural perception and a narrative saying that the housework and a mother's work is the most noble thing in the world. In a way, it's over-exaggerated. It's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. But I think when we get the rhetoric going so far, that opens up comedy to hear what he had to say. That's where we are.
Okay.
And the fact that I'm joking around like, oh my God, we can't touch this, is playing into that. All of a sudden, we're fearful to even suggest that narrative may be a little bit inaccurate.
Well, it's pandering. I mean, at the end of the day, it's pandering when you're saying, it's the hardest thing, but it plays to a specific audience that we want to pander to, because ladies, we love you. But it's pandering. So Bill Burr had another bit. It's the same thing about as former military guy when they talk about heroes and all that, and then Burr is talking about what about the guy who does this on the aircraft? Is he the hero?
That's actually a pretty important job.
It is.
That guy's actually pretty important.
There's a little bit of a difference between being under direct fire, and with all due respect to the cooks who saved my bacon, enough literally and figuratively, enough times out there. The thing, with all due respect, like, it's not the same job. There's an import to that, but it's also not the same thing.
Well, okay, same concept though. We say all teachers are heroes, but are they? Not all of them are.
Oh, no.
Not
Some
all
of them are very bad.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of them are very, very, very bad. I've been a stay-at-home dog dad.
Yeah,
I don't know if that counts or not. But I want to go back to what Christian was saying about the stigma, right? I grew up very traditional. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but also the principal of a private school that my parents founded, okay? So, because they were missionaries. And so I grew up with a mom that both worked but also was a stay-at-home mom. And her priority was obviously us kids when we were little. And I know that my dad was, he used to say when he left the house in the morning, I got to go make the bean money. That's what he would tell me. He's got to go make the money. And my mom would raise us. They raised us together, but I don't remember a single time in my life where it was just my dad and us kids. There were times it was just my dad and me, but it was usually like a trip. Like we'd go camping in the woods or something, or he'd take me to work with them. There was no and if he was put in charge of us, he wouldn't know where the Lucky Charms were. He wouldn't know how much milk to put in the, you know what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't know how to do that, but it's probably more not a measure of how hard it was as a measure of just not doing it every day.
Well, I wonder if there's a generational aspect to this too, because now that you're mentioning that, I mean, I had a similar upbringing, not with the founding of a school, but very traditional upbringing. Mom would stay at home. She did a little bit of work.
This is the roles the man plays, and this is the roles the woman plays.
And the only time I was ever alone with dad with that was when mom had to go somewhere for like a family emergency. She had to leave town, and my dad was clueless. I mean, he was lost.
Totally clueless.
He tried to microwave pizza with the aluminum foil on. He was. I mean, like it was a disaster. He didn't know anything.
But mom says I can have as many Oreos as I want, Dad.
We didn't have sugar. Like I grew up with a much stricter upbringing. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff. We didn't have a TV. Like it was weird. But the internet is there now. And so, men have something to rely on. If they don't know something, they can figure something out with that way where they didn't back. I wonder if there's a generational aspect to this, actually.
Well, there totally is, because remember the movie Mr. Mom, which was about 1983-ish. Michael Keaton, Terry Garr, the late great Terry Garr. And that's
it was so countercultural then.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But it's one of the movies you can legitimately not make today because there are so many stay-at-home dads. And the joke was, he was the hapless dad who didn't know how to cook or clean or anything because that's what his wife was doing.
Right.
When he lost his job and she got a job, everything changed. You can't make that today.
The other thing about that having changed is that was back in the day when most women did stay at home with the kids. And now most women don't.
Yeah.
Right. So we have a completely different, generationally different way of looking at this. Still, it's considered maybe the traditional role. But at the same time, this guy, he's not working. He said in the video, he said, my job allows me to be able to pay all the bills and stay at home and raise the kids. She has to go out and work to earn her money. Right. So it's clearly a completely different sort of dichotomy from what it used to be in the past. But I think it's interesting to me. I do think that evolutionarily, I'm going to say this and I'll get in trouble, okay? Evolutionarily, there are certain roles that as human beings, a male is designed to play versus a female designed to play. The modern take on that is, cool, but we've kind of outgrown that, right? When we were moving as tribes and villages, it was important that the men went out and got the food and the women stayed at home and picked the fruit and raised the kids with the kids slung over their back.
Hunter versus gatherer.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we're not hunter-gatherers anymore. So everything can change. Can a kid raised by a stay-at-home dad and a working mom, first of all, I'll say, hey, they're both together. That's great. Step one. But how does that change the dynamics of how a kid is raised, right? Because a mom is so much more tender, so much more raises emotionally in that sense. I'm not saying that is a bad thing.
No,
there's a much deeper emotional connection with the mom because you did, in fact, pop out of her belly. So there's an emotional bond there that transcends the fact that it's a gender thing, but rather you came out of her belly. Would it be the same raised by a stay-at-home dad?
It's different for sure. Also, the culture is pushing two narratives. One is women are heroes for staying at home and moms are doing all these great things. And yet there's sort of a cultural perception of, oh, you're a stay-at-home mom? Oh, what else do you do?
Right.
Like, it's like almost dueling things right now, which is really weird.
But you hear the stay-at-home dad, and you instantly assume it's a deadbeat. So, I mean, there is, there is
or you immediately picture a guy who's just not manly.
Yeah.
Right. He's not masculine, right?
Effeminate almost.
Right.
It's, going back to what you were saying earlier about the kid and the upbringing, I mean, like at the risk of offending everyone, either that kid's going to be the most logical kid on earth, or he's going to be the biggest dick on earth. Like it's
he's just going to grow up on Hot Wings.
Be a jerk to he's just going to be a jerk to everybody, or the most rational man alive. One of the two.
Yeah,
but
I don't think there's middle ground there.
Maybe it's more important not to talk about like cleaning and like the basics, but like the
emotional bond,
the connection with a kid and making a good person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually more important than the house is clean, the house is dirty.
Yeah.
You're there with the kid 24/7. You're making that person a good soul.
Now I want to see a study. Now I want to see a study of families that stay together. Okay. Parents who don't get a divorce in this situation. They raise the children. I want to see a cohort where it's the mom that stays at home and a cohort where it's the dad that stays at home. But both families stay together on that track. And then I want to see what happens in terms of, I bet you both outcomes are positive.
Oh yeah.
Right. But I still bet they're different.
Yeah. I want to see an IQ and EQ study on each of the kids too. Like an emotional, intellectual intelligence on each of these and see what's going on. Just for my own personal curiosity. So
But if the results are the wrong results, does that get released?
What
are some of the mask studies that were surprising?
In our study, we control who gets the, we control, there's no redacted files that are a hoax.
No, really.
Everybody's getting the files.
Yeah, we don't have to vote on it. So, okay, what do you mean? What would be the wrong outcomes of, say, a stay-at-home dad?
In our culture, if the stay-at-home dad is raising a more successful, I mean, what the term would be, child, or they're more...
Oh,
you know what I
mean if it works better?
Right.
If dudes are better, you're saying that big feminism is going to squash the study and dudes are better?
Yeah.
Dudes, we got this. We'll fight the wars, we'll raise the money, and we'll raise the kids. You guys go to the casino.
Wouldn't it be anti-feminist, though, to shut it down? Like, because then the women could go to the workplace and fight the wars?
I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just saying, heaven help you if you found those answers. That's all.
It would never come out.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
But wait, would it though?
But I'm saying it would be beneficial to them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, what does the academic world do?
It's like the time
when, if we're reaffirming that the mom should stay at home, that's bad. So they wouldn't want to release that information. But if we're flipping it and saying the guy does better, then what do the feminists do? Like,
it's a conundrum.
I don't think they want to know, period.
It's like that time I got slapped at the restaurant, and I'm like, is it feminist to hit you? Is it feminist to not hit you? I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Like,
did you ask the people in the restaurant? Excuse me.
I was like, I don't, well, she threw water on me and left, so it was, whatever.
Oh, my God. There's more to this story?
No.
He doesn't want to tell it.
Not that we can talk about right now.
So, okay, but if we go back to this, maybe the best, most positive outcome though is in today's world, like it's hard for parents, right?
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
to raise kids right now because in most cases they're both working, and when they're both working, other people are raising your kids most of the time, whether it's the schools, the daycare, a nanny, somebody that comes in, whatever your situation is. I'm wondering, like, I guess to me, both parents being more involved in the kid's life, assuming they can stay together and assuming they can manage not turning their kid over to some other institution most of the day. I feel like that's probably the most positive outcome that you can get, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the old school, the dad basically never spends time with the kid.
Right.
It was a certain generation, and I think that things change and often for the better. And it's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah.
My dad was old school and a little bit oddly progressive in a way. Like he'd hug us and stuff, and he was very nurturing.
Yeah,
in
my
a
dad
way.
was like that, yeah.
But he was also 50s era guy too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think we
50s
can
era?
accept good things. I think the bottom line here is that it's why I love comedy so much is because it's making us think and reevaluate things. Bill Burr isn't being a monster there, but he's pointing out some inconsistencies and
Right.
some hypocrisies, and that's why the audience is laughing, and that's why we're laughing.
You know what he's doing is he's breaking apart a narrative. This is how we do society today. Everything is a narrative.
Yeah.
And the reality is everything is actually nuanced.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The narrative is you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. You're blue or you're red. You're a feminist or you're a soy boy.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's something in the middle where, you know what? Like my dad he was definitely a hard man and he was a man's man. You know, he was a builder and an outside worker and a military veteran and all these things. And he rarely ever said, I love you, or I even less, I'm proud of you. Right? But there were those tender moments that I still remember and those life lessons. Can I tell you guys a story?
Yeah, of course.
So one of the best life lessons I ever got was from my dad, and it was about morality. So we were doing a fundraising trip for the ministry, and we're driving across the country, and my dad decides whenever we did these trips, we would stop and see stuff along the way. So we got exposed to this stuff. Well, it was just me and my dad this time. So we came through New Orleans, and we stopped in New Orleans, and my dad was like, we're gonna go down the French Quarter. So I'm about 16 at the time, okay? So we go down the French Quarter, and my dad like puts no leash on me whatsoever, right? Like I'm peeking in everything. We're going wherever I want to go, he goes. I'm seeing things I have never seen. First time I ever saw a half-naked woman, okay? Like I was seeing it all, and I'm going, my dad just suddenly became the coolest dad in the freaking world. It's amazing. So we go through, we have the whole night. It's not Mardi Gras, but it's always like that in the French Quarter. We had a great time. Go back to the hotel. Next morning, my dad wakes me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And he goes, let's go. We're going to get out. So we go back downtown to the French Quarter. And I'm seeing some of the ladies I saw last night coming stumbling out of the bar. I'm seeing a guy like laying in his own piss and vomit. I'm smelling the smell of the leftover stuff. My dad doesn't say a word. We just walk down the street. We get back in the vehicle. And as we get back in the vehicle, he goes, just wanted you to know there's two sides to it.
You got the reverse walk of shame there.
Well,
You know
but
what
you
I
know
mean?
what? He wasn't. The thing is, he never judged anybody. He didn't judge anybody we looked at, and he didn't judge me. He just said, I just want you to know there's consequences to your actions.
Yeah.
There's another side. The sun is going to come up. So, like, he inserted life lessons like that from time to time, but it was mom that was there all the time. So I don't even know, like that balance. I don't even know what the scientific balance is there between a dad that can do that kind of thing, but
also all that time, your dad was being a role model to you without saying a word, without doing anything.
Yes.
You were looking at him every day, going to work, working hard, caring for the family, caring for the kids.
Yeah.
And that's even more consequential.
That's an important part of growing up as a kid.
That's a great learning lesson.
Yeah, it's, I mean,
It kept me on the straight and narrow for a long
To
time.
be fair, you said, Dad, can we go back tomorrow?
right. Yeah, I think
Cool, Dad. Let's go back to the.
I think that that's just it's shocking to me in a sense that because I did not have that upbringing. Mine was very strict. This is the way it is. I'm going to tell you how it is, and that's the way it's going to be. But which caused me to rebel against that. Go through my 20s, being we'll call it libertine because I can't find a more crass word for it at the moment. But yeah, that's great because he took you through the experience without, on the one hand, participating and on the other hand, judging, and allowed you to see the scope.
I think he was trying to avoid what you just said. The stricter you are, there's jokes about preachers' kids and missionary kids are even worse, right? That we don't get the socialization and all that kind of stuff, and so we tend to rebel. And don't get me wrong, when I got to college, I did my share of that, but it was nowhere near as bad as it could have or would have been if I hadn't had parents that, maybe, look, I was the fourth of four, So maybe, and I was way behind my 3 sisters. So maybe by then they were like, hey, we should probably go this other route with him. He's just a throwaway. He's the boy. Whatever. We'll see what happens and see if it works, right?
It's positive because I was the oldest. So for me, they made every mistake, you know,
Right,
on me.
yeah.
We're going to do it. We're going to overcorrect.
That's how you turned out that
you
way.
know, yeah. But I mean, because by the time they got to my youngest brother, they had mellowed out and,
Right.
you know, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So there was some of that maybe, and maybe there's some science to that too. Who knows?
So that brings us back to the question of the stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home mom, right? Because it took my parents 4 tries to maybe have this somewhat successful, you know, maybe. For you, you got the rough end of the stick because you were the first one. They made all the mistakes with you, mellowed out by the time your brother. I mean, what's that formula then? I mean, because those are the roles that your parents had. Those are the roles that my parents had. Same for you. If you mess up that formula,
Isn't that the deepest existential question of all? Why are we here? I mean,
yeah, I don't even know.
To me, there is no formula. It's doing the very, very best you can, putting the kids first. That's the bottom line. And by the way, that TikTok.
Are you saying there's no perfect parent?
I
haven't tried yet.
I thought it was about 5 minutes.
Wait till he has
That
babies.
TikToker's got 1 kid, and the kid's 1, and you know, at 1,
Right.
they're not as dependent
Oh,
on you.
that's a
They're
good
not
point.
crying as much.
Yeah.
There are parents. My wife is one of 9 kids. I don't know how her mom and dad did it, but they
Yeah.
did it. And they did a great job. And the kids all came out good, productive people.
Right.
You know, they're complicated. They're not all the same, but that is a miracle. So for every TikToker saying, "Oh, stay-at-home dad's got it easy, and the moms have it easy," and
Yeah.
get 4 or 5 kids under your belt. Trust
Yeah.
me. I've got 2, and there are times I'm overwhelmed.
He definitely was very young,
yeah. That guy was.
and he's probably going to regret that in about 15 years
That's
because
right.
it ain't going away. It's not going off the internet.
We'll get a TikTok in 5 years. Say, okay, you were right.
That's right.
I got 8 of them here, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you get a whole patch full of critters, and it might be a little bit.
Hey,
of a
at the end of the
story.
day, at least that's a couple that's having kids
Yeah.
because that's not happening in America right now, right? I mean, people are afraid to have kids right now.
The other part of this is she's sparking a conversation. We don't
Yes.
do a lot
Yeah.
of that these days. We do a lot
Right.
of declarative stating of opinion without, he's sparking a conversation, and I respect that. That's,
Yeah.
we talked about.
Yeah,
we
I
talked
don't-
about Charlie Kirk on the
This
show
went
before.
viral and it went national. It's based in Colorado Springs. I haven't seen like an outpouring of hate against the guy.
Good.
At least at this
Probably
point.
some laughter at the, from the had
Well, he's
multiple
nice.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got a couple of women out there with babies on both arms going, yeah, come see me. Yeah.
I'll see you in 6 years.
Yeah,
pal.
we'll see what happens when
And
you
also,
start.
we're so ready to do the hot take and so ready to do the angry and like, how
Yeah.
dare you? Take a breath. And also, that guy wasn't being cruel or mean.
No.
He was being a little.
He even
pimpy.
said at the end.
He was tongue in
Yeah.
cheek, but he
Yeah.
was still like, he was
Yeah.
like, I haven't hit that. I haven't hit that part yet. Is that
Yeah.
coming? You know,
Right.
I mean,
Here's
so,
the thing: there are babies that are beautiful and angelic, and they sleep on time, and they don't cry that much.
and then there's me.
and then there's other kids. Okay,
shucks, stop. It's
other
a-
kids.
Yeah, right? As soon as this guy's like me and Benjamin.
I was like, my parents. I was like, you got
Yeah.
right the first time. I don't know why you kept trying. So.
I don't know. Would you do it? Would you be a stay-at-home dad if you could?
Sure. I mean, I have no qualms about that. I imagine I wouldn't get bored at that point. That's the reason I got a job was because I
Right.
got bored.
You were
Like when you're in
bored,
your
yeah.
mid-30s and you're retired and your friends are all working and you got nothing
Yeah.
to do all day. Like
Yeah.
that's the reason I wouldn't got a job.
What about you?
I mean, I'm quasi. I mean, I take my kids to school every day. I'm taking.
Right.
I take
And you
them
have a
back.
non-traditional working
Yeah,
environment.
so I'm my own boss, so I
Right.
can do my own thing. But I'm kind of sort of a semi. I'm not. I mean, I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
And now the kids are at school, but when they're young, it was really complicated. to
Yeah.
Do work, get a nap in for the boys. I mean, just squeeze it all in. It wasn't typical. But
Right.
yeah.
There's
unique.
one reason and one reason only I couldn't do it. And it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I'm a male and I think that the woman should be the one doing this. It has nothing to do with that. I would consider myself to be somewhat progressive on this issue because I'm married to a really powerful, strong career woman. And there's been times in our marriage where I've made more money and there's times when she's made more money.
Yeah.
And it's never bothered me, right? Like if she's funding the things that I'm going out to do, I'm totally cool. I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has more to do with just my personality. Like I can't be stuck at home. My wife would never leave the house. And we had this conversation when we first got married. I was like, if you want kids, let me know. I'm cool.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't really want them because if I had them, I would feel obligated to stay at home and raise them. And she's like, it's not really what I want to do. And she goes, I wouldn't. And I was like, well, what if I? And she's like, no, as a woman, if I have, this is her point of view. As a woman, if I have children, I am going to stay at home and take care of them. And it's not what I want to do at this point in my life, right? So that's how we sort of made the decision that ended up being not having kids because she didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom, but would have felt compelled to be. And I wasn't about to be stuck at home. And she's a homebody. So
I also think as a culture, we do this whole thing where, oh, you've got to have a kids and you got to, if there are people who for a variety of reasons don't want kids, don't think they'll be good for kids,
Right.
Don't have kids. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've got a friend. They've had a great life. They moved to Ecuador recently. They never wanted kids. They didn't. It just wasn't them.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. I mean, it's actually more honest. In a way.
Look at him. He's over here. He's like, that'd be me.
I don't need and mine are purely self-centered. I don't need a younger, handsomer me to compete with.
Do people though in your life, especially if you had a traditional upbringing? Because I get this a little bit. Do you get
be serious.
pressured, or do you have people say stuff?
And I'll be serious for a minute. The reason I don't want kids is because I didn't like my upbringing. My dad was too strict, and I am worried that I will pass that along.
Right,
So
right.
there are. If we want to be serious for a minute,
Yeah.
there are elements of that upbringing that were harsher than they should have been.
Yeah.
To be charitable,
And that's healthy too, honestly.
And
you know?
that's
It
where
really
I'm at with
is.
that. Like I don't want to. There are certain genetic things about me. Psychologically that I don't want to pass along, and so that's really what it is. I would be open to adoption. I don't want to have my own kids.
I have had the exact same conversation with myself about not only genetic things. I'm fortunate that I'm very healthy now, but I was born with a lot of physical challenges when I was, just a baby, and for reasons that are associated with my faith and other stuff, I won't get into that right now. But I ended up being okay and ended up being super healthy, which is great. But I worry in the back of my mind, am I going to pass that on? And would they not be as fortunate as I was to get through that whole situation? So that's part of it. But the other part of it is because my wife and I do get that from people, not from our own family, strangely enough.
Good.
Our family's been like super accepting of it, but from friends sometimes. Aren't you going to? And we're like, no. Yeah. We ended up becoming all of our friends empty nester consultants, because people see us together and they're like, you guys act like you just got married. And we're like, yeah, because we didn't have kids, so we don't hate each other. So it's like,
you did this to me.
Yeah, you did this to me. So I never did that to my wife, so it's okay. We're good.
By the way, I had a boring, pleasant, happy, normal-ish childhood. My parents did a great job. And to speak to stay-at-home moms and dads, parenting is really, really hard. It's aggressively.
That's the part that's hard. The really cleaning the house is nothing.
Yeah,
right. The raising the
that's
kids.
superficial stuff. And juggling
Yeah.
the personalities and the needs and the complications. It is intense.
The
It
closest
really is.
I was stepdad to 3 teenage girls for 2 years, in that relationship. It was wildly rewarding. I'll say that it was, but it was also the most difficult thing I've ever done. And I've been deployed to Iraq, started my own company.
Right.
It was by far the most difficult thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think at the end of the day, this poor guy in Colorado Springs, at 1 year old, man, you have a daughter and you haven't had the conversation with your wife about who talks to her about the birds and the bees, or you got a son who talks, right? You haven't had a daughter go out on her first date, right?
3 teenage girls.
You have.
I was like, the one brings the first time a guy comes home, and this guy, I was like, all right, I'm going to intimidate this guy. I'm former military. I put the guns out on the table. We're going to. This kid was like 6'7", he's a volleyball player. I opened the door like this, shut the door, go get a step ladder real quick, come back.
Here she is.
We got to equalize this.
I called Steve Atwater, and I was like, Steve, I need some help. You got to get over here right now.
But I mean, the first time you have to have that conversation when your child gets rejected.
Yeah.
The first time you have to have that, what I'm saying?
Breakup and those kinds of things. It was one of the most rewarding moments of my life. I mean, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching moment where, first love is falling apart, that kind of stuff. And you know how it is. I mean, it's both sides of the coin. And that's why I say, after doing it, I would be open to adoption, I think, but I do not want to have my own children.
Yeah, same here. Wow. I don't know how we got off on all of that, but hey, it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
We should talk about that real quick.
Sure.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Apple pie. I go straight to the dessert.
You know what? We can be friends. I thought you were going to say pumpkin pie.
Yeah, you were
disgusting.
That's this nasty crap. Thank you.
Yes. Anything that you
Fight
have
back,
to
big
put
pumpkin.
like a pound of whipped cream on just to be able to
kill the
taste
flavor.
palatable.
Yeah.
No,
Can I tell you guys a quick story about Thanksgiving?
Yep.
Okay, my family, if they see this episode, it's going to be a problem. So my sister was visiting one time. We had a kitchen where we were living at the time, angled into the living room, and there was a pass-through, just a small pass-through into the living room. And the sink was right below the pass-through. And so we were washing the meat and the potatoes and all that kind of stuff. And we had a trash can right underneath the sink so we could put the potato peels down inside the trash can, and then we would throw our trash away in there. So we were prepping the turkey, and we had it all buttered up, all greased up, all the flavorings on it, everything was in there. And my wife was going to take the turkey and put it into the turkey bag. So I'm holding the turkey bag over the trash can. So she puts it in the turkey bag, and boom, lightning because of the butter all over it. Boom, right through the hole in the bottom. My family's all sitting in there, goes right into the trash can.
Bumpuses?
So my wife is like, she's thinking, oh my God, the whole dinner is ruined. And I just real quick grab it out of there, put it back in the bag, tie it off on both ends, and put it in the thing. She's like, because they're all sitting in there. We're like, yeah, they didn't see a thing. Put it in the oven. Freaking everybody ate our trash can turkey at Thanksgiving, and they
There's
never
something
knew.
special with this. What did you do? What's your secret?
Oh my God, there was probably the potato pills that were in the bottom of the trash can, the coffee grounds.
There's a tang to it. I don't
The
know.
coffee grounds.
A little gritty, but I like it.
Different texture. It's
a good mouthfeel.
The brine.
Yeah, that's it. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Oh man, I tell you, I like it all. I personally enjoy making the food because I brine a turkey. I have my own brine.
Oh,
I do my own,
yeah.
and so I'm telling everybody's ever had. It's like this is the juiciest turkey I've ever had.
Love it.
Kind of thing. So that's my thing. It's less whatever the food is, and more that I made it and people enjoy it, and get something
Isn't
out
that
of that.
fun?
Yeah.
Speaking of switching traditional roles, I'm the cook in my house.
I'm the cook in my house.
Yeah, I cook and wash dishes.
You guys do the same thing when you go out to the restaurant. Yeah, I have a dishwasher for that, but it's but you go out to a restaurant and you're like, I can make that, and then you go home and try. Like that's the kind of guy.
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
I enjoy cooking for. It's because I was single bachelor for so long. Like if I wanted to
Right.
eat good food, I had to make it, or
So we started a new tradition, and we started it last year, and now we're doing it this year too, both Christmas and Thanksgiving. No more turkey.
prime rib.
Prime rib.
Prime rib.
Prime rib.
I switched for
I already
Christmas.
ordered it, 3 bones.
I switched for Christmas. I haven't made the Thanksgiving
Yeah.
switch to prime rib because I still enjoy doing a
Dude.
turkey once a year. But
Oh
yeah,
my God. It's the thing. It's the bomb. And it's like so much easier to do. You got a smoker or you got an air fryer. Even an air fryer will do it.
Yeah.
You can do
Really?
you can do
Yeah.
a prime rib in an air fryer and it comes
Wow.
out great. Got a rotisserie.
Huh.
Just let it do its thing, especially if it's a little bit smaller one.
Yeah.
But put it on the Traeger grill, man. Oh,
low
my
and slow.
God, it's the best. All right. Appreciate you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Thanks for watching the Twisted View. Remember, if you don't like what we said, I hate Leland at twistedview.com. Happy Thanksgiving.